All right, welcome back to Cyber Unfiltered. Today is a very special day.
I'm in the office. That's what's special. Like
Matt's here.
Yeah, exactly. Matt's here and he's in the office. Doesn't happen very often, right? So, boy, do we got a lot going on. We have TELUS, a Canadian company that got a petabyte worth of information stolen, allegedly.
What's a petabyte?
Yeah, big number.
How do I? What's it? So if I say 1,000 gigabytes.
So when two hard drives love each other very, very much, you get more storage space. A lot more. It's a lot of data.
Actually, it's funny. How many petabytes is a gigabyte? Oh yeah, it's one to. Yeah, it's a lot. So let's just go with that.
Yeah. We're going back to grade school and exponentials on that one.
It's 1,000,000 gigabytes.
Yeah, a million. Yeah. Most people's laptops don't even have a terabyte, right? So let's just do a terabyte calculation. It's 1,000 terabytes. So it'd be like having a laptop. It'd be like having 1,000 laptops with 1 terabyte storage, all full. Fair?
A lot of data.
Yeah, that's a lot. So TELUS, they do some business process outsourcing. Why do they have a petabyte worth of data? Who knows? But shiny hunters who have been just breaking into everything lately apparently got into their Google cloud platform. And they got the information allegedly from the SalesLoft drift breach, which was all about Salesforce data because they got 760 companies worth data out of Salesforce. So they just started looking at that data and just decided that, hey, look, somehow they had credentials that got into the Google platform. So there's that.
But what would we even call that? Is that moving laterally? I mean, it's like breaking into a house with other keys.
It's called live off the cloud.
It's mining the data.
Mining the data.
No, it's called living off the cloud. It's where it's like a technique where attackers
that is a
legitimate built-in cloud services and APIs.
Term. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's how I would describe it. It's kind of iffy though.
Off the land.
Well, typically, yeah, which would be local, but living off the cloud typically involves like using APIs, tools.
You get in one
other built-in cloud services. Yeah, this they may. I don't know if they. I think they may just found the credentials in Salesforce stored. So, whatever. Choices were made, not good ones, but choices were made.
Poor cyber hygiene practices were performed.
Yeah.
Again,
we just got done with the Winter Shield stuff, the Operation Winter Shield stuff from the FBI, and then you see this stuff where somebody gets a petabyte stolen because they apparently stored credentials.
I believe we said don't do that. So they did that.
To be fair, I didn't specifically say don't put your credentials in Salesforce for Google Cloud Platform.
Right. It was implied.
But that is a big piece of news. But a lot of people, because it's in Canada,
you should have.
Yeah, that's fair. But the fact that it's in Canada, do people care? Maybe. But I will say this. Other victims from that Salesforce issue were Google. I think Cisco had something with it. Match Group, which is like Match.com. And our favorite website that is a hub that we can't talk about apparently was tied up in that too. So, yeah, go with that.
They're going to reconcile logins between Hub and Match. I don't know.
I guess if your day goes well on Match, you may end up in a Hub. All right, let's move on. You can laugh at that. That's funny. All right, let's move on. So, unfortunately, we're engaged in a war right now, right? We're engaged with Iran. I'm sorry, it's not a war because it wasn't declared by Congress, but it is a war. I'm not sure what it is. It's an excursion in the Middle East that involves Iran. However you feel about that,
fight.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
And he's back. He missed our excursion. Bob made an excursion. Where'd you go?
I don't know. The internet just went blip and everything got quiet, and then you came back.
You have the most inconsistent fiber I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I know.
But we're in this excursion in Iran, and what that has led to, and from the stuff that we've seen and we've been briefed on, is obviously increased cyber attacks, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal that we haven't talked about yet. Operation Winter Shield from the FBI was focused more on the Chinese threat, but now there's an Iranian threat, and Iranian has sponsored nation-state actors for a long time. So I want to just kind of talk about 5 things that you can do or you should do right now, and then we'll talk about a company who didn't do that. And it's not a good outcome for that. So, number 1, you need to harden your identity and email. The stuff we talked about with Operation Winter Shield, with making sure that we have phishing resistant MFA for email, super important right now. Go back and watch that if you can. Go look at the PDF for Operation Winter Shield. It's something that needs to get done right now. If you could possibly reduce your attack surface by putting other restrictions in place, like maybe people can only access email from the office, or they can only access email from like certain locations, it might be an option there as well. But please look at your email and make sure you lock it down. It's one of the preferred methods for gaining access to accounts that people shouldn't have access to. And I know we keep saying this over and over again, but we keep finding people who don't do it. So it's like, please just do that. If you're not monitoring your email, if you don't have a service that's monitoring email, like just looking at the logs, looking at your logins, highly suggest getting something like that. Matt has one. Bob has one. I have one. We all sell it. I'm not going to mention any names for like products or anything like that, but there's options out there. If you're not doing that now, please do that. And
well, let's just be clear that Microsoft and Google aren't doing it for you.
No.
Primarily.
Yeah. That's not because inside their terms and conditions, they tell you that you need to be,
they say that's a you problem. That's what it comes.
Yeah. They provide you with security. They provide you with security options. If you choose not to use them, that's a you problem. That's what Matt said. One of the things that we talked about, again, we talked about this during Operation Winter Shield, but we've made fun of this in the past. If you have stuff internal to your network that's facing the internet, that's open to the internet, that is a risk.
Mm-hmm.
Firewalls, admin portals for firewalls. If you're hosting a website on site, again, that's a risk. If you really want to go risky and you're the type of person that put all your money in Bitcoin when it was $130,000 because you thought that was a good idea, you probably have RDP published to the internet. Maybe don't do that. Just say it.
That one you said explicitly, so no excuse.
Yeah. So, you're crying a little bit. I mean, Bitcoin's coming back. The thing is, when you lose a little bit of money, there's a chance it could come back. When you just leave open RDP to the internet, there's a really good chance that it's going to be a very bad day, and you're going to be dealing with Iranian hackers or other types of hackers. So make sure that you reduce the number of things you have published to the internet, accessible from the internet. Make sure that you're patching aggressively. Make sure that whoever is doing your IT is make sure that they're handling that option. For our really favorite people out there, this goes to IT folk. It can go to managed IT providers. It can go to you as a owner if you're using a remote access tool to manage your devices. So remote monitoring management tool, an RMM. Screen Connect seems to be a very popular one that people like to use that leave open and then people get hacked from it. There are other multitude of other ones, but enforcing MFA on that, super important. Restricting your admin access, super important. Require, alerting when something new gets installed on your computers, kind of important. Things like that, if you don't have like a defined software catalog for your company, like what's an allowed piece of software in your network and you're not monitoring for that, it's something to think about. Because a lot of these attackers, they
no
just install these tools.
Install things. That's, to be clear, no one should be able to install anything that's not on that list. It should be a no.
Right. No. Now, if you have a policy and you're monitoring that, and there's an exception to that policy, that's fine. But you document what the exception is and why. I'll give you an example. Maybe you hired somebody for marketing. They need Photoshop, or they need Adobe Premiere, but that's not a normal accepted software in your environment. But for this reason, for that person, maybe you make that exception and you document that.
Keyword
that way.
There's a process. There's
right. You have a
it's
process.
Like go get whatever the hell you want. Free for all.
Sure.
Bad idea.
100%. The next thing is you really want to improve like detection and observability inside the network. And what we mean by that is you need to know when bad things happen. If suddenly a PowerShell script is running, or it just decides to run at an abnormal time on your network, you need to know that. Why is that running? Do you have logs that are doing that? Do you have a security team that's monitoring that can actually make a change to maybe isolate that device so that it doesn't do that? Things like that. So the more you can detect on your network, the better you can respond to it. But also having a response plan is important there too. And then you can prepare for like ransomware outcomes and operational disruption. So immutable backups, we talked about this during Operation Winter Shield. Having backups that cannot be changed, cannot be deleted for a certain period of time will probably save your ass. You also need to have them offline, right? So offline or offsite, combo of both, but they need to be immutable. You want to run a restore test. You want to make sure that you can actually restore this. You want to make sure you have an incident response run book and playbook for how you guys as a company respond to an incident. Now, let's talk about a company that didn't do any of this. Allegedly. There's a medical device manufacturer called...
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. There's a medical device manufacturer called Stryker. They're actually based here in Michigan. And Andala is a hacktivist group. They're Iranian backed. They said that they decided to attack them based on the war with Iran, or the excursion, however you want to call that. Stryker used Microsoft, which is fine. Intune is a tool that is it's like a device management tool inside of Microsoft 365 that you can use to do policies. You can deploy software. You can do really cool stuff with your computers that you need to protect.
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing until it's not.
People running it.
Until it's not. Any tool that you install that can install software, that can do other certain things, can also be an attack tool. This group got into Stryker. Apparently, they must have phished. It sounds like they may have phished an administrator. They created their own global administrator inside of Microsoft, which means they have unlimited rights to whatever they want to do. They went into Intune, and they wiped 200,000 devices in 61 countries.
That was nice of them.
Now, for the record, it used to be really difficult to remote wipe devices, and people used to pay a lot of money for that. So what a bargain. I guess they didn't want their devices wiped.
I'm sure all their data was BitLockered too. So not only it was encrypted. So if a laptop got stolen, it was, probably not going to get access. But they remote wiped all the devices, including personal cell phones. And this is where it gets interesting.
Ooh.
The problem with it is if you have a physical SIM card and somebody remote wipes your device, you could just restore it, right? Well, apparently that remote wipe took out eSIMs.
Oops.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So if you had an eSIM, you had to then somehow call your cell phone provider to restore the eSIM or issue a new one. How do you now? I don't know about you. I don't have a landline. So how, and I'm sure this is the majority of people, right? How do you call your cell phone provider when your cell phone doesn't work?
Yeah.
Talk about back in the dark ages.
I was working with a
think
guy the other day that had a similar problem. He his cell phone died. He doesn't drive, and he needed to Uber somewhere.
Oh, geez, can't even call it.
Same problem.
No home phone to call a cab. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one important point is that Intune would not normally be used to wipe personal devices because you apply different policy to company devices than you do personal devices that are accessing email, things like that. However, if you have a global administrator that is malicious, they can do whatever the hell they want. And that's what happened here.
Well, and the policy that they applied probably wasn't tracking the data for the personal devices. I mean, they could have been. It just depends on the policy. So, yeah, I mean, mobile device management like that, especially for phones, can pretty much read most of what's on the phone once you enroll it. Typically, if you're an honest company, the people will be signing through like an acceptable use policy. There'll probably be a mobile device policy, stuff like that you sign off on. And then you do that so you can access the resources. A lot of people don't want to carry two phones, which is perfectly fine. But to not protect, I mean, they clearly weren't using phishing resistant MFA. Let's be real. If an administrator sounds like they may have been, I mean, global administrators are not supposed to actually have email. So you can't get it phished, but clearly that wasn't the case. So there's other things inside of Stryker the more you read into this, the more questions you have about their practices internally.
So could we be coming back to good cyber hygiene? Where maybe you're not, surfing and clicking links as a global administrator, inviting others.
But everybody knows this, but it's like so many people just ignore it. And this isn't a small business problem. Look, Stryker's a large company, and they put out an 8K because they're a public company, and they basically admitted they got access into their Microsoft environment. They said it wasn't ransomware, so they didn't do ransomware. Now the company, the group that did it, they claims they stole 50 terabytes worth of information, which is 20 times less than what TELUS had stolen, but
allegedly.
It's quite a bit of information. Allegedly. They say that I saw something today that they've allegedly, their operations are now back up and running because they need to restore all these things, like because cell phones, laptops, remote devices. I don't know anything about their server environment. I don't know if anything got impacted there because Intune doesn't control server environment. It controls just like laptops, desktops, phones, tablets, things like that. So, but when you got 56,000 employees, you have 200,000 devices. Like that, the amount of time it takes to restore that, especially when the stuff's remote, like you may not be able to. They may have had to send some of that stuff in.
Well, if they're global admin and the tenant, there might be other issues there server-wise.
Yeah,
but not to get
so.
hectic.
I don't know who they engaged for cybersecurity incident response. I know Microsoft was one of them because I think they mentioned that, but I don't know who the other cyber. Because usually they bring in two. A lot of these companies bring in two when they have an issue like this because they want competing opinions basically. So yeah, good times. Oh, it looks like they might have brought in Palo Alto. So looks like Microsoft's detection and threat response team and then Palo Alto Unit 42. So yeah, be safe. There's probably going to be more attacks from Iranian people that are sympathetic to the Iranian people and the Iranian country in general. There's no telling who's going to be attacked next. I'm sure those attacks are ongoing and maybe we haven't heard about some of them yet either. Stryker was just a very large company, and with this with the breadth of this attack, like that is just so many devices. So be safe out there. Kind of follow through on Operation Warrior Shield that will protect you a little bit from some of the stuff. I think that goes back to that, but We have China to worry about. We have Iran to worry about. We still have Russia to worry about. We've had less of Russia to worry about since the war in Ukraine because they've been tied up with that. But with the way that the oil markets got opened up for Russia being allowed to sell oil again, that's going to pump a lot of money back into Russia. So realistically speaking, that could fuel their cyber attacks as well.
Yeah. And the bottom line is wherever it comes from, American companies are a very keen target right now.
We're always a keen. We're like the number one way.
Always
target,
were,
right?
always will be.
Yeah, Europe's a distant probably too, but we're the country that people want to attack. So be vigilant. If you haven't looked up Operation Warp Shield, go back and watch what we talked about the last couple of weeks. And if you have any questions, let us know.
Perfect.
Pretty good for this week.
Okay, we'll catch everybody next week then.
Yeah,
Talk to you guys next week.